One of the things where in that last one is kind of, especially the two commandants of the FA and the ADA school, that's where they utilize their Facebook page a lot. As those new soldiers show up for training, ADA school, I think they're still doing it, takes about a 15-second video of every kid that shows up to the ADA school. Every time a class shows up, they take a little 15-second blurb and he can say, hi, mom, whatever. And it's on the Facebook page. So, in the Army, we have to recognize that that is part of our culture. So, we're using that, the social media for that, understanding that families and dependents aren't always behind the NIPR firewall. So, we kind of use that to reach out to them. The other thing we use the social media for is we all live and work on Fort Sill. It's amazing if you look at our Facebook page, on the FCOE Facebook page. John Dorsey runs that. He's our KM guy at the FCOE staff. His desk is in the StratCom. When we started having our ice storms in the winter at Fort Sill, yesterday you had 3,800 people that liked your Facebook page. How quick can you update your Facebook page versus getting an announcement on KSWO TV? John gets a text at home, updates the Facebook page from his iPhone that says Gate 2 is now closed and the roads are red. And I want to tell you what, in the last 2 years we've had ice storms in the winter, 35% increase in Facebook followers. Because folks are going to go where they can find it. I mean, you can sit, if you've ever been in Oklahoma on one of those ice storms, you can sit there for a day and a half and watch things scroll across the bottom of the screen that are closed. Okay? But if you know that the FCOE is putting theirs on Facebook, it's a lot easier to find out if you're going in at 7 o'clock or not at all tomorrow or coming in late. So social media does have a place. I would not say it's the cornerstone of our KM program, but there are those elements that it does talk to, and we do use it. That's one of the tools we use. So AKO, for file exchange, for those course handouts, for documents, pointed to by an HTML page like FKN. FKN, like I said, we got some work to do on what it looks like on the front. Mike might talk about it a little bit of the way ahead. But it gives you a landing place and it gives you a portal that the main content area differs from tab to tab. But anywhere you are on FKN, you have the information around the periphery of the page that can take you to JKO, take you to CG's blog, take you to the Fires Forum, take you to Mill Suite, and we use all of those tools. Our doctrine, question of it, you got a microphone? Can you get a microphone? I'll tell you what, he's getting a microphone. Our doctrine guys are using Mill Suite almost exclusively now to staff doctrine changes.
Hi, Ron Crow, Army Professional Forums. Just a couple questions. One is, I noticed you have the RFI section. Are you guys linked in the call RFI at all?
No.
Okay, so the RFIs that you guys get are not shared with others, with the Army lessons learned. Okay, I mean,
yes and no. I'll answer that 2 ways.
Okay.
Yes and no. We are not linked into the call database. You're correct. So in that way, shape, form, and fashion, the answer is no.
Okay.
Yes, in the fashion that we do have 2 call reps that work in a lessons learned cell that are part of FKN and work with us through that, and they're on all those emails and in our community and publish that FA lessons learned primary.
And the reason I ask that is just, I think in a lot of times in the knowledge management field, especially in this lesson learned area, what we do is we approach it, you know, everybody's doing the same kind of, we're duplicating a lot of tasks and not sharing like we probably should. But just throwing that out there. Another thing, BCCast is no longer exists. We're Army Professional Forums, and we've been part of the call now. But, I'm wondering if do you guys do video interviews or any kind of video or interviews at all with with soldiers returning from theater? And if so, do you post them up here?
We do not do video.
Okay.
Our lessons learned section that works in the Director of Training and Doctrine, we got FA guys, we got ADA guys, and there's call L&Os embedded there. They do go out and do exit interviews for guys redeploying.
Right.
And on units. To date, we have not done video.
Okay. That's just
We do that and then publish a primer monthly, the lesson learned section.
One of the things how I think we can help you up at the call at Fort Leavenworth is we do interviews with the CGSC students when they come through. A lot of field artillery ones specifically. One of the ones that's just an example, we're going to hit it and interview this guy probably within the next couple of weeks. Clarence Fires issue. They had some Marines come in an Army battle space, and they fired mortars at some insurgents. And as some insurgents, Army didn't know they was there, fired a counter battery on them, and took out some Marines. But interviews like that I think we might be able to share with you guys down at Still, that might help us both out and help.
I'd love to.
Okay.
Let's talk right after this.
Absolutely. All right, thanks.
Another question just came in on DCO. It says, how large is the stable of contractors to support this system? I think it's great, but how much overhead does it take? We have one contract web developer that she is on contract, and that is what her performance work statement says. She is paid as the web developer for FKN. Then there are 5 of us. John Dorsey works for the Fire Center staff in the Stratcom office. Al France is in Director of Training and Doctrine. James Walls in the Air Defense Commandant's office. Gordon Shaw is in the FA Commandant's office, and I work in the Joint Staff. So 6 people on a contract that are solely paid to work the knowledge management effort as portrayed by FKN at Fort Sill. Now, that's just contractors. Then Mike talked about his people in his office. This is not something that you do just out of overhead as additional duties. This has been a concerted effort to get to this point. So that's kind of our way around FKN, and you know, it kind of branches off into JKO, social media, blogs, those kind of things. So if we don't have any other questions about FKN, that talks, but we do. I like that music that's playing.
Yes, sir, thank you. You mentioned earlier about using the mill suite for your ADPs and ATTPs also. Is that like exclusively, or is it just a mirror site of your AKO pages? Like when you was talking about downloading the CD from JFO?
No, our doctrine section over in .D, when they have a draft of a manual that they're ready to staff, they load it into MillWiki, and that's where they work their changes and collaborations on MillWiki. Works pretty good, actually. Any other? Okay, that's kind of FKN and how it branches out, and how we use it as a portal and a landing space for us. And that covers how we talk to our families, how we engage in a professional discussion, and how we collaborate back and forth with the field. Now, Mike is going to go over just a few minutes. It's not real complicated. Staff collaboration within the Fire Center. And to do that, we use SharePoint. I can only spell SharePoint. I'm not real good with it, so Mike's going to come talk about it.
Okay, let's talk about how we got to SharePoint. You know, when we first started doing knowledge management back in 2003, we were doing a pretty good job outside of Fort Sill. And And then we got a commander that came in and he was like, you know, guys, you're doing great for the soldiers, for the warfighter, but you're not doing anything for us. So that's when we got tasked to put together a Sharepoint portal. What we did is we used the TKE portal. Again, another no-cost solution to the Fire Center of Excellence. Somebody has to pay for it, but my commander isn't directly responsible for that. So what we did is we put together the Epicenter at the Fire Center of Excellence. And what we do here is we do all our general staff work in this portal, everything. What we're trying to do is alleviate our staffs using the I drive, the J drive. You know, they get hit by a bus, their stuff's due tomorrow, the CG needs to do a briefing. So it's all in this portal. And I was really excited yesterday when I watched the briefing, I believe it was by, I can't remember who it was. It was in this room yesterday afternoon. And they were doing a 2010 Sharepoint. The AMC, that's correct, thank you, Joe. I was totally excited to see that. And I have one person that does this. She will be contacting them to get more information on, you know, where they're at and what they're doing. But I'll tell you now, Sharepoint, for an in-house solution for Fort Sill inside our wire, so to speak, it's been very good. It's really streamlined what we're trying to do. The other thing I'd like to tell you, when that question came in about the staff that we have, as far as technology staff for people developing web HTML, I have 2 people, that's it. One is on a contract that does FCAN, which is embedded in AKO. For those of you who didn't recognize it, that is AKO. And that's one person. And I have another person who does my SharePoint. She also does my public web pages. All the public web pages for the Fire Center of Excellence are done. I say all of them at the FCOE, which is the Fire Center of Excellence. At the top level are done out of my office. It's just one person. So that's how we're organized. We do a lot. Both of those two are very busy individuals. For any changes in FKN, I have them do a SharePoint change request. SharePoint change request gets filled out, gets sent to that webmaster, gets executed, and then it goes back to Jay and his crew to let them know it's finished. It's their responsibility to go back in and take a look at it. Did my intent get met? So that's how we do things at the Fire Center of Excellence. One thing that we're trying to do now is we're trying to look at what we've done. We've been writing that template that you see now in FKN for about 3 years. We're looking at updating, getting a little fresher. So what I'd like Jay to pull up now, do you have the link? There it is, it's up on the screen now. This is going to be the new, and again, it's a work in progress. That is going to be embedded in AKO, and that will be the new look for the Fire's Knowledge Network. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get our stuff to be more relevant, dynamic, easy to follow. So this is just an initial pilot. We haven't filled out anything on it yet. In fact, I haven't even met with Jay and his crew yet to bring them up one at a time to migrate their pages. Because we're going to do a test in the sandbox to migrate their pages, and then before we go live. So this is just an idea of what we're getting ready to go to. Now, Jeff, did I have the link to the 101 book? Is it there? I don't believe I have it up there. Go back to the middle tab, if you would. Not one more. There you go. This is just an example of our public web-facing site. We have a responsibility to the parents of our soldiers that are at Fort Sill training. Every parent that comes through knows about these pages. So that's run out of our office also. One thing I didn't get, it wouldn't come up, is we're in the process of, 2 years ago we won a first place in, actually we tied, I believe it was Joe. Was it Joe we tied?
What was that?
For the KM 101 book that we wrote.
One about income?
Yes, the one we won. It was 2 years. I don't know if it was you that was your office, I thought, wasn't it? Yeah. It was your, yeah.
be paid for.
Anyway, that's another form of knowledge management, another tool. We're in the process of redesigning that book as well. I couldn't get the link to come up. It's been updated, re-energized, and it's more toward a warfighter, not so much toward corporate. So those are another tool that we're working on at the Fire Center of Excellence. And one thing I want people to realize, I got a good friend of mine, Andy Mortensen. Andy, are you in here? There he is, sitting right there. He works out of CAC. And he brought some things to my attention that not all tools are technology. And, you know, since I'm kind of a technology geek, he enlightened me that, you know, when that warfighter's out there in the foxhole, he might not have a technology tool to get at his mission. So those are things that we all have to look at. Every one of us needs to be conscious of, you know, when we talk tools for K&M, it's not always an IT tool. So at the Fire Center of Excellence, what we've done is, you know, we've tried to stay on enterprise level technologies. Why is that? Why are we on AKO? In 2002, when we had an idea, my boss, Mr. Henderson, and another gentleman by the name of Mr. Kelzer had an idea, a great idea, but our CG wasn't going to pay no money out of the pocket. He said, go find something you can ride, and I'll support it. Well, AKO was just in its infancy, so him and Mr. Kelzer got on the control configuration board for AKO, and they started forming AKO because it is an enterprise. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect, but that's how we got at our mission. So from then forward, we've always looked for an enterprise level tool. And the reason is we don't want to spend the money if something is already being bought by Big Army. And that's real important, because if you look at all the money that's been spent on technology, not on an enterprise, where would the enterprise tool be today? We don't know. A lot of money has been spent. Do I have any questions? No questions. Sir.
Jerry King, 7 Signal Command. Have you added any specific business processes in SharePoint, any workflows or anything like that?
Yes, sir, we have. We have a lot of workflows in here, and I'm not the technology geek to talk this. You know, I'm the guy that stands at the top and gets my butt chewed when it don't work. But my person, unfortunately, I couldn't bring her with me due to the constraints of the budget. I would have loved to have her sit up here and talk about what she does. But yes, there are business processes in place. We're also going to be experimenting with some other tools that are available that I looked at today through, it's a business process management tool. And I talked to my boss, and we're going to see if we can explore that as well. But, you know, we do a lot of things with the CAC TKE. We've bought, I think it's 3, Eddie, we've bought 3 plugins for the enterprise and put it on the CAC TKE portal.
That is correct.
And that helped everybody. We bought them, and everybody used the CAC TKE portal uses it. So, but yeah, it's a good question. I'm not sure what all business processes are in place. I can't talk to it. I apologize. Anybody else?
There might be a Roger question coming up.
Okay.
Someone's talking.
Mike, I got a question, Barry Bryant. With all of the tools that you have that are either technology-based, at what point does a young soldier get exposed to this so that they learn it as a business process later down the line?
That's a good question. Here, at the Fire Center, here's what we're doing. Initially, when we first started this, we tried to get into the advanced individual training and the low-level classes coming through Fort Sill. Didn't work very good. I was a staff of 2. Now I'm a bigger staff, and we started at the pre-command course, the captain's career course. So we're slowly getting inculcated into the daily fabric of those courses. I hope by year's end that we're into AIT. We are in the NCO Academy. They do understand it. I'll tell you now, you know, a lot of people say this, how do you measure this? Well, I tell you, my boss and I both would say, let's just shut it off for a day. There'll be your measurement. It's very, very hard to measure. I can tell you how many people hit a page. Who cares? Nobody cares about that. But what I can tell you is if it broke today, the screaming would start. All right, I got another question here. Good question. The guy used to work for me, Andy Childs. He's now the Chief Knowledge Officer at USDirect. He asked the question, is there any plan for lessons learned to be nested under KMSS, which is Knowledge Management and Support Services? Right now, there isn't. I think it's a perfect fit for what we do. But right now, I don't think that's a discussion that we're having there at the Fire Center of Excellence.
One more.
The question is, would you rather have complete ownership of your own portal if you had the resources to fund it? And I got to be honest with you. It's kind of a catch-22 answer here. I think that I'd want it, but then I'm not sure I want the hassle to maintain it. I'd rather have somebody else have the hassle. Now, I'm going to tell you now, Big Army's gotten a lot better at customer service for us. When we have a problem with the TKE portal, which is not Big Army, it's at trade-off, I have no problem. I make a phone call. I don't make it. Miss Ashley Matthews makes a phone call and they fix it. So, I'm not sure. That's a hard question. I don't think I want the responsibility of the network sitting at Fort Sill. Got another one coming. I failed to mention who was the one asking the question before, but the second question coming is from the same gentleman. It's Major Brent Fogelman, KMO, ISAF, Joint Command, Kabul. Question is, I'm struggling with that exact issue here in Afghanistan. Okay, he wasn't asking the question, he's saying, hey, he's experiencing the same thing we are. You know, it's a tough thing to say, I want ownership, but then along with ownership comes responsibility. And I'd really have to have a big staff to be able to do that. Anybody else have a question? Okay, well, I thank you for coming today. Really appreciate it. And one thing I'd ask all of you to do, remember that we're doing this job for one person and one person only, and that's for the warfighter. Thank you.